They opened up a little small track in Danville called the Dixie Speedway, and they wanted to get some black drivers, and they thought they didn't know who to approach, so they went to the police department to find out what black guys had speeding records and things like that. So they told them they want somebody to drive a race car to see me. So that's how I started racing.
As Matt told us earlier, trying to become the first African-American driver since Willie T. Ribbs and join Randy Bethea and the great Wendell Scott.
He did he drove the car exactly what the car wanted him to do. He got out early. It looked like a little tight, but he kept in the throttle and he got a good lap, and wow, way to go.
There you go.
Woo-hoo. That's it.
That man, Tony Schumacher, wins. He is the champion for an 8th time. But Antron Brown, if Tony Schumacher loses, becomes the first African-American to win an NHRA title. 376, Antron Brown is the top fuel champion.
These need to be the best 7 laps of Darrell Wallace Jr.'s life.
That was a good first part of it right there.
Turn number 4, Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to get his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. His final time through 3 and 4. He's going to do it. Bubba Wallace wins at Kansas.
Ready. What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go!
Record is equals. Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix and is a 7-time champion of the world.
Get in there, Lewis. What a way to do it, mate. What a way to win your 7th world title.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are back with another exciting episode. We're coming out of Atlanta. We are in the summer stretch, and we have a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect. But first, let me roll through and introduce you to everybody on the crew today. We got Vontae.
What's up?
We got Jarrett.
Yeah.
And we got Kianna.
Hey, y'all.
So, guys, we're coming out of Atlanta. Willie B gets another dub. His 4th win of the season after the rain stoppage. First thing, what do we guys think about the race? What stood out to you about it? And then what would you give this race in terms of a letter grade based on what you saw today?
I'm going to go first.
Here we go.
Oh. No, but like, outside of my driver is doing terrible, not really, you know me. But like, racing was cool. It was fun though. Very, very, like, so much action was in this race. Tyler Reddick, man, that dude, he is him. Literally saved that car. Was Eric John like an ass. Like, I think got the lead, but overall, I had 2 grades. Outside my boys, in good racing wise, beside the random lane stuff, which is kind of stupid though. I give it like a C plus at best. My rating, I give it a full grown fat F. Racing make me mad, but
you mad, bro?
I rest my case.
Wait, so are you going to give it an F just based off of your driver's finish or off the product you saw there?
So the product is a C. Me, my opinion is F.
All
right. So Atlanta was awesome. Just personally, I'm always hesitant with the super speedway race style on a 1.5-mile track. That's still weird to me. But there were so many passes. There were so many passes for the lead. Somebody you can get past coming out of 2, and the leader get their position back going into 3. Just the way the draft worked and the way the run's built. I'd give the race an A, just genuinely because it was very exciting on the on television. It was really exciting to watch. I can't wait to hear how it was in person. And then overall, NASCAR made me, overall is like a C. I'm really indifferent about them waiting for it to start raining. They could have opened pit road. A lot could have happened as far as the points could have been completely different had they just opened pit road and gone back green with 2 to go left in the stage like they normally would anyway. I'll save the rest of my thoughts and opinions for later.
Yeah, I went into this race expecting to hate it based off of the previous races at Atlanta under this configuration. I thought it was going to be like it was last year where it was just a 2-line train. And for the first 20 laps or so, it really seemed like that's what was going to be the case. But it really got exciting, and I was really surprised at how much I really enjoyed it. Cars were slipping and sliding. We saw drivers making mistakes. We saw that drafting mattered, but you could still get up there and slice and dice and make moves. So it had a lot of positives for me. I saw some folks on Twitter saying it's the best race they've ever seen or the best Atlanta race ever. I don't know about that, but I just like the fact that there was a lot of action. There were comers and goers. So overall, I was really impressed with the product. I don't know if I want to see more tracks in this configuration. We'll talk about that in a second. But overall, I give the racing product itself a B. I agree with Jarrett. NASCAR at the end probably pushed that down to like a B-. Just the way they handled that seemed very, I don't want to say suspect or suspicious, but it just wasn't. Yeah.
They sus.
But like, it just wasn't how I would have wanted to see it handled. So a B on track, B- for race control.
I guess, yeah, I would probably say a B-. Obviously, with me being at the race, I saw things probably way differently than what y'all saw on TV. But I mean, overall, it was a good race until the rain started. It really just ruined everything. But I do think there were some things, and I can explain that later, that kind of played into what happened at the end, and it really wasn't, what people thought it was, because there was a lot of just like stuff going on. So they had to make a lot of decisions in a very short amount of time. And I think that was like part of what happened. So, but yeah, I can talk about that later. But yeah, I would say B- because it was, up until that point, like, Bubba was pushing, like everybody was just really fighting for positions, and it was just really fun to watch. So yeah, it was a bummer that we didn't get to see the full thing.
Would you all agree that this race was a big step up from the previous Atlanta races since the repace, since the reconfiguration?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I hate to break it to y'all. I may hate me for this, but I like it. The new Atlanta is cool. I enjoy the races. I enjoy like the product a lot. I don't know why people hate it, because it's not how it was in 2021 or 2020. Who cares? But what I'm trying to say is, like, I think, in my opinion, like them reconfiguring the track to 28 degrees and make it like a super freeway type of product. Like, it's cool. I think like racing wise got better, because let's be honest. The old Atlanta was barely producing any racing. Not only that, racing got pretty stale over the last couple of years. I don't think I remember like a last good Atlanta race. I'm not saying, but like it got better. People overreact because it's super speed. Who cares, man? Who cares? The last couple of super speed races have been amazing, especially with how the packages is. So it's natural for them. They complain about a lot of stuff, but it's cool in my opinion.
Yeah, this is definitely the best race that this car has had on the new configuration. We know the 1.5 mile product that NASCAR puts out now is insane. I would have loved to seen this car on the old track, but this was the best race the new configuration gave us. Personally, I'm still holding out hope. As great as this race was, I think it was partly just because everybody knew the rain was coming. They just didn't know when. And then when it turned into be like, okay, well, the rain's going to come before the lightning, so if it ever does rain, it's gonna be murder she wrote. So I think that's why the racing product was so good this weekend, because everybody was going 110% full commitment. There were a lot of moves that you normally wouldn't have seen made if they know, oh, the night's gonna be clear, we're gonna go to distance. They're not going to be ducking and dodging and going 4 wide, just if it's just a normal race. So I'm interested to see how NASCAR handles it for next year as far as schedule placement, where they put, if they give Atlanta 2 dates again, where they put it in the schedule.
So I guess, considering the fact that everyone was so aggressive, do you think this race strengthens the argument for shortening some of these races? Maybe we don't need 400, 450 miles. Does an Atlanta race at 300 miles make it more aggressive? Does that make it more exciting? But the counter of that is, are the fans getting their money's worth? Traditionally, NASCAR races are longer, 3.5, 4 hours. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
We definitely don't need no 325 lap race like how it was last Atlanta race. Like, let's be honest. Last year's spring race was hella long. It was like 5 hours, if I remember. That was a really long super speed race. Them wanting it down the laps is smart. It's a super speedway. What do you expect? But 250 miles is cool. I expect some better, but oh well.
I mean, I feel like this is the Cup Series that we're talking about. If you want a shorter race, there's other series that races shorter distances. But I feel like just in order to keep the prestige the Cup level has, you have to go at least 400 miles on an oval. You have to go at least that length, just to show the talent and the attrition, and to give, people a chance to actually see, what the drivers can do when it's hour 3 or 4, it's 127 degrees in the car. How are you going to drive then? So I feel like they do have to keep some distance in it. It's just, we like a sport that needs it to not rain, and when we're not at a road course.
And it's also not, 100 degrees outside, because God, it was horrible.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I like how aggressive everyone was. So I see the vision with that, because it would, be cool to going from being at the Charlotte race and you're literally sitting there forever to a race like this. I mean, it felt like it was over in an instant almost. Even with, of course, with the rain shortage, but Xfinity too. I mean, it still felt pretty short. But I like how aggressive everyone was. So I would love to see more of that and see more racing like this. Cause I mean, it was really just the competitiveness was really just exciting. And I mean, just being on the ground, even though I couldn't see the whole track where I was standing, most of the action was happening near the start finish line. So I got to see a bunch of it, but it was oh my God, they are really going for it. This is not, oh, so-and-so's in the lead and they're 15 seconds ahead. I mean, they were really just pushing each other. So, I mean, I can kind of see, if you do take off some laps, it kind of changes the strategy a little bit. It would be kind of cool to see, instead of having the same number of laps for everything all the time, it would be kind of cool to just change up the numbers and see how they have to change their strategies. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel agreed. It was by far the most aggressive driving I've seen this year, and you could tell they were on the edge pretty much the whole race, which is what you want to see, right? We want to see them straddle that line and push it as far as they can. So, Kianna, you mentioned, a couple times that you were at the race on site, and so you had a much different experience than us watching at home, and probably a lot of the listeners who were watching it on TV. Why don't you walk us through what that experience was like? What did you see? Who did you meet? Just give us a rundown. Twitter might know, your Twitter might know, but give some folks.
Oh, they know. That's why notifications are still blowing up. My God. I mean, it was wild. I was pretty overwhelmed because it was weird being at a race by myself, kind of, Mm-hmm. And I didn't think about that till I got there. And I was like, oh God, I know maybe 2 people here, didn't know anybody. But it was cool. It was easy. I had VIP and it was easy to just get my credentials, find parking. It was a lot less crowded than I thought it would be. I was very surprised at that. That was probably my biggest, like, oh. Xfinity actually had a pretty good crowd, Saturday night. And then Sunday's crowd, it didn't seem very full. And I don't know if maybe it was just the heat, which I totally understand because it was hot. I was kind of like debating it because I was like, should I just go back to my car and like chill in the AC for a little bit? Like, it was hot. Really both days. Saturday was hotter than Sunday. But yeah, I mean, it was a very easy process, like getting in and out, and everybody was so nice. All the NASCAR staff were so nice. And, you know, Saturday for Xfinity, I was hanging out, near the Calling homies, and, shout out to them. And, it was pretty cool because, like, you know, Daniel Hemrick, he was in second and, you know, finished second. And I was like, oh crap. Like, we almost won. If they had gone 1, 2, 3, that would have been amazing. And I was ready. I was so ready for that to happen because I had all 3 of their pit boxes in my sight. So I stood there strategically so I could capture if we got a 1, 2, 3, that would have been amazing. And it didn't happen, of course. But yeah, it was a really fun race. And that one had some pretty good action too, but obviously we'll talk about what happened with that later. But yeah, the Cup race was awesome. I met Kyle Busch on Saturday during qualifying, and then I met Bubba on Sunday. Finally, those of you who know me, you know how long I've been trying to meet that man. My God.
And everyone in the chat is nodding.
Yeah, like,
we all know.
Years I've been trying. It has not worked. Every single time I've tried, something dumb has happened and it just didn't happen. And so I was pretty much about to give up because I was very, very close on Saturday, but after what happened in qualifying, I didn't want to, you know, he was in his zone and I didn't want to bother him. So I just, you know, I didn't do it. I stood there and just gave him some good vibes. But, yeah, Sunday I was sitting in the shade and I just, like I got up. Someone just told me to get up. Like I was sitting in the shade and I was comfy. I was like, I need to get up because they were like moving the cars out and it was just a lot of traffic and I didn't want to get run over. And as I'm like turning the corner, I see this purple shirt and I was like, oh God, that's him. And like, I mean, we almost would have like run into each other. If I hadn't been paying attention, I would have just like run into him. And I was just like, oh God. And so he spotted me like almost immediately. I mean, there's not that many black people out there, let's be real. And he spotted me and he just kind of like pointed out my outfit. And he was like, nice swag. And he held up his hand and gave me a high five. And so I asked him for a selfie. He's like, yeah. And, you know, I just walked with him and took the selfie. And, I didn't even like register what really happened in that moment. I was just like trying to get the picture and I was like praying that it actually took the picture. And then I had to call my mom and I was freaking out with her on the phone and my hands were like shaking. I couldn't even hold my phone correctly. It was dumb. But I was just like, you know, I was just excited. Like, that's my boy. And I was just so happy to like see him and, you know, like, oh wow, he's actually talking to me. Like, this is cool. And the way he complimented my outfit, he was like, nice swag, nice swag. I was like, yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Cause I debated. I didn't know what I was going to wear yesterday. And I was like, should I do a full Bubba outfit or should I just be like low key and be like in the background, you know? I was like, nah, forget it. I'm just going to do full Bubba. And I'm glad I did cause, you know, he wouldn't have seen me, you know, that quickly if I had just been in like regular outfits. So yeah, that was really cool. I met a lot of really cool other people too on the ground, you know, from different crews and just people from like, I met somebody from Virginia. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. And of course watching the races in person is like, it's so much better than TV. Like it's hard for me to watch races on TV now because I feel like I'm not getting the full experience. Like I have to turn the volume up to like 100 to feel like I'm like, you know, like I need to feel the rumble and just like hear that noise. It just, I love it. But yeah, yesterday was, it was great, but it was unfortunate. And I was so happy to see Bubba just like trying his best. And he really was. He was trying. And that was really all, you know, I could ask of him. And actually, I did meet his mom about 10 minutes after I met him yesterday. And she and I had a little chat too. And, you know, she was just kind of like, you know, just keep him in your thoughts and, you know, let's hope for the best today. And I was just like, I'm about to lay hands on that car. I was so serious. I was like, I'm laying hands on this car because he's got to do better today. And he was. I mean, he was doing everything that he could. It was just an unfortunate situation. I think if we had gotten those last, 75 laps, we were about to see some magic happen. And that was really what broke my heart. And people, when he did, when Priest did his thing, I yelled so loud and the people around me just kind of moved back because I was like the only Bubba fan out there. And I'm glad they moved back because I was about to like slam something. But, yeah, I mean, it was just so frustrating because he had it and he was so close. And then to just see that happen, knowing that the rain it was already starting to sprinkle at that point. And I was kind of trying not to panic. I was like, maybe it'll just like, sprinkle twice and go away. Cause it had done that like 2 or 3 times in the last like hour before it actually started raining. I was like, okay, maybe it'll miss us. I don't know. And it just, like, as soon as I thought that, it just started like pouring down. I was like, oh God, please. And so I saw the lightning and I was just like, there's no way they're going to restart this. So I think part of what people are misunderstanding with the whole caution situation is that they were probably having the same questions that I was having and most of us on the ground were having, because we were even talking to, I can't remember whose pit box I was next to. I can't remember. But some of the people, they were just like, oh God, like it's starting to like sprinkle. And it just kept getting, more frequent. And then it stopped and then it got more frequent again. And we're just like, oh God. And I think NASCAR was probably trying to figure out what to do and how to handle that. Only because, if they pulled him in too early and it stopped sprinkling, then God, now you've pulled a red flag and it's for no reason. So it was a lot of like, what should we do? It just felt like that for a little bit. And then once it really started to rain, that was when they just had to pull them over. And so it did take a little bit longer than it probably should have, but it was because it was raining in like one part of the track, but it wasn't raining, on pit road where we were yet. And so they were kind of like fighting on, it just, nobody knew what to do really. Cause people didn't know if they should pack up or, the people on the ground, they didn't know if they should start leaving, so it was a lot of confusion. And of course, TV's not going to show that because it's, it's hard to show that. But, that's really the reason why they just kept kind of circling. Cause I think they were trying to make a final decision on like, okay, do we actually shut this down? So, I mean, it sucks the way they did it and the way it happened. I didn't like it. Nobody on the ground liked it. Like, everybody was really mad that we had to like walk back. And I was like walking back to my car in the rain while the fireworks started. And that's how I knew that they had called the race. Like, oh God. And I just stood there for a second, like in the rain watching the fireworks. I was like, this is really horrible. But like I said, up until that point, it was a great race, great weekend. It was just really unfortunate that that's how it ended because I feel like we got robbed of a really great ending. So, but yeah, I would totally go back to that track again. I loved it. It's very nice. Like, it was a very nice weekend. But yeah, it was just, the ending was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that race for the 23 was really just kind of a microcosm of the season so far, where there's glimpses of hope and things are happening and things seem like they're going really well, and something happens and it just falls apart and they don't get the finish that you feel like they should have gotten or that they deserve to have. Real quick before we move on to talking about the points and the playoffs, Jared, Bonte, I wanted to get y'all's opinions on the weather as well and race control. I was of the mindset in the moment, I was heated. I was tempted to start tweeting at NASCAR in all caps saying, hey, yo, let's get this thing rolling, because they roll around, and in the moment, seeing it on TV, it seemed like they rolled around for 15 minutes under yellow, waiting for it to rain so they could then stop it, versus going green until it started raining to stop it. And I totally understand what Kianna's saying about the experience on the ground is much different. You have a lot more information and context. But as a fan watching at home, I don't care about none of that. Like, that don't matter to me. I just see cars rolling around at 50 miles an hour, and that's not what I'm here to see. So what are your thoughts? Do you think they handled it the right way? Do you feel like that it was mismanaged? What are y'all's thoughts?
My bad. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's cool. But the problem, yeah, it was cool though, because I know how they want to be like strict at what happened at Daytona last year. So I'm not really mad. I'm not really mad about that. Only thing I'm really annoyed is how they did a caution laps like for 15 minutes and then call it red. I don't appreciate that, but it is what it is. They gotta do better though. Even though I was already mad about other things in that race, if you know. But yeah, it's what it is though.
I mean, like, logistically, it makes sense, like, why NASCAR went through the protocols that they did. But, you know, like we just covered, like, this is probably the most exciting race that we've had since Chicago. Literally, like, up on my feet, screaming at the TV, like, this was an awesome race. And it takes a lot for a race to look good on TV. This race looked good on TV.
No, it did, yeah.
And it's just like, it was just frustrating just because everybody's turned up. It's the end of stage 2. Lord knows what's going to happen these next 75 laps. And then NASCAR made the decision to just like, ho-hum, and trying to figure out what's to do. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, are they doing this because of what happened at Chicago last week in the Xfinity race where they bend it before it got to stage 2 and everybody was upset? I was like, I know we're past halfway, but like, are they just covering their bases and getting to the end of stage 2 just so there's no angry people in their DMs or in their mentions? They're like, nope, follow the rule book. So like, I'm disappointed personally. If I was race control, let them race the 6 laps out. You know, Michael McDowell would have had to pit. We would have gained more points because we would have stayed out. It would have been a different scenario. We'll talk about that in a second. Like, I appreciate NASCAR for not wanting to put the drivers in harm's way, but man, how do you explain that to the millions of us watching on TV, shaking our fists like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I think they've been cursed this year by the weather gods. The 2 most exciting races of the year, back-to-back weekends, and they just get buckets of rain at the worst possible time.
Well, I mean, shoot, Charlotte too. Like, you know, like, even though we got it done, you know, the next day on Memorial Day, like, it still kind of affected things because, like, the crowd wasn't as full and, you know, I mean, it kind of ruined the vibe of it. But, yeah, like, the rain has really been a nuisance this year.
Yeah. So looking ahead, William Byron picks up win number 4 in the season. He now leads the points over Busch, Truex, Chastain. We know that the 24 is going to be a threat. They seem like they might be my favorite now, maybe for a cup this year based on how well they've been going. But what I really want to spend some time on is talking about the playoff bubble. We have 7 races to go. We have 4 drivers within 13 points on the cut line. So just to recap, we've got Suarez and Michael McDowell tied, plus 3 points above the cut line, taking up those last 2 spots. First one out, 23, Bubba Wallace, -3. AJ Allmendinger, -13. You've got Ty Gibbs, Cindric, some other folks. And then lurking down in the 20s, you've got Bowman, you've got Chase Elliott, who we know can win. And Chase has been slowly chipping away at that points deficit. But what do we think? Who do we think is going to make it? Who do we think is going to be out? Let's start with that.
I pray on everybody that Bubba makes the playoffs. I pray. Who else? I hope Suarez get that last position too. I just want my boys to make the playoffs at least. But we got to get 7 races to go. Time running out. We got to get to work. Like, there's no time to be wasted. Like, you got Cindric, McDowell, which was surprisingly. Who else? Obviously Suarez, Cindric, and Elliott too, and Bowman. Like, these guys came to fight, so we gotta be our end game for these last 7 races.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult to point in at this point just because the standings are so close. you have one bad race, you're 30 points behind, and it's desperation mode for the rest of the season, sending Hail Marys. Now, I don't know if that's what 2311 needs. Maybe they need that wake-up call. I can definitely see Suarez. Suarez may steal one in these last few. Chase could steal one. Even Alex could steal one. I know that, Bubba has some races circled on the calendar. This weekend being one of them. All hail, DraftKings scheme. It's going to be tough. I pray on others' downfalls, and I just wish we just stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Just stay out of trouble. Keep your nose clean. Just, goodness gracious. Just please, David Wilson.
Right. It's been a rough 5 weeks for us boys.
Yeah, it is.
A rough 5 weeks.
It's just, we ain't had a top 10, sniffed the top 10 since the 600, man. It's
right.
Yeah.
It's time.
I mean, if you look at it, like, I hate how well McDowell's been doing. It's driving me nuts.
I hate it.
And
I want him to go first.
I mean, I wish Stenhouse didn't have a win because I know he would not be up there if he didn't have one. So it's like, that's like, that. This is all, when you really look at it, that's the frustrating part is that, like, with Stenhouse winning. God. Ugh. Anyway. Don't even get me started on him. Anyway. But, I mean, it sucks because Bubba could be right there. But, again, like we said, like, there's just been so many things that happen, and it happens in such a sequence that it just ruins, the chance that he has. Even if he does everything that he's supposed to do, in a race, it still gets messed up somehow. And it's so frustrating to see. And I know he's frustrated too, because you can kind of see it sometimes. So it's like, all right, well, I hate that he's so close, and we were in there, and now he's like so close. And it's just, it's frustrating. But yeah, like I was sitting there last night, and it was so cool to see him, like, top of the leaderboard and, getting points. And I was like, yes, like, we're going to have a good night finally. And then everything went down, and it's just, again, it just snowballs every week for us. And I don't know, it's just very frustrating. But I'm hoping maybe we'll get surprised in the next couple weeks and, something will just happen. Because he's got it. And you can tell that he's really just like, he's trying. But he needs the other pieces of the puzzle to fall into place for him. And that's where everything is messing up.
Yeah, I can definitely say he's always been very open about his mental health, and he's on it this year. Like, after seeing his performance in the 600, like, yeah,
exactly.
He's not the one that's not locked in and on the 23 team.
Because the 600, that was like, that last few laps.
Him.
Yeah.
When I tell you, me and Philip were like holding hands because we were like, what are we watching right now? If he had another few, I really think if he had another like 15, 20 laps, he would have been on. Because he was going. He was flying. And that's what I love to see. So I want him to get, when he gets in that mindset, you can tell. And I think he was in it last night. And that's what I hate. Because, like, he was there.
He was at 6, right?
He got up to.
He was, like, before the crash, he was like 7 or 8 around that time.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say he was around 6th or 7th, yeah. Like, this race is one of those that no matter how the season goes, like, anything short of a Bubba championship, which I don't think any of us are going to predict or put money on it for this year, this, I think, is the type of, hey, you know what? I'll take it. But I think this race is probably the one that will hurt the most, just because you can see, like, it's there. Like, the points are there. The money is on the table. It's waiting to be taken, and they just weren't able to do it. And there's a couple of races that, like, we know, and we've talked in the chat about every week, it seems like, about how, like,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Especially Worldwide Technology Speedway.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, like, there's certain races that, like, we know Bubba does not perform well at, namely road courses, right? Like that's just his big Achilles heel as a driver at this point in his career. But even in spite of his performance at those tracks, you look at Worldwide Technology tonight, at Richmond, they didn't run well. There's just a lot of races where it's like, if you were just average, like doing it, not even amazing, just average, you're probably 15, 20, 30 points above the cut line right now. And I think there'll just be a lot of wondering what if, had a better pit stop, had better strategy, didn't get caught up in this wreck. I just feel like if they had average luck, and you can argue that, well, if you're at the front, your luck is always better. Your luck in first place is always better than if you're in 22nd. But average luck, they probably are safely up there with the Bushers of the points where they have that bubble, and they're not feeling like I have to fight for my life every single week. Like my head is barely above the water, and right now below the water.
And then not only this, keep in mind, this is not a bubble issue that's going on with 2011 racing. Tyler Reddick as well is also having a terrible 5 weeks as well. Both of them are. It's not just a bubble issue. Tyler's having the same issues as well. Even though Tyler got the win, they don't count. They don't count obviously, but like him and Bubba and Tyler are struggling. We're struggling for a full month, and the last 2 races. So something needs to change. Like
it's the pit timing and the pit strategies and pit execution.
Man.
That's what's killing them.
Yes.
And it sucks to watch that. And like last night, watching Tyler come through again through the pit, and I'm just like, oh God, stop. And it sucked because I know I was like the only 2311 fan standing down there, and I kept seeing him. I saw him come through pit road again. I was like, oh God, what happened now? Because I couldn't see where he was. I could see Bubba's pit box, but I couldn't see Tyler's. And then I checked and saw what happened. I was like, oh God.
It's frustrating. Like
it is. And that's what's killing them is, the drivers can do everything that they need to do. But like I said, if the pieces don't come together in that puzzle, that's what kills them. And, without a win, that's really going to be what determines if, if Bubba gets in the playoffs or not. All those other pieces have to come together for him to give him something.
I still don't get why they hit it.
Yeah,
I'm
still I have never been. Normally, I'm pissed about races, but I normally don't get. I know. Well, I always said that. What I'm trying to say is like, I was furious. Like, if he go on a 2011 account out in the comments, like
I saw some.
They are pissed.
Lighting them up.
Everything.
Yeah.
Even I think bad some guy on Twitter, he had posted a picture. Even his wife was confused. Like, why would I have him pit?
Yeah.
Like, you can definitely tell it was that bad.
It's just like if he stayed out, are we upset about the rain, or are we upset about the rain because he had to come back and gain all those positions back because of the fact we pitted with more fuel than everybody in the top 10.
Yeah, and like the part that really makes you want to pull your hair out is that they played it perfectly up until that point.
Yes.
They were off sequence. Everyone in front of them was gonna have to pit. They played it exactly right, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, they've nailed it. Booty is cooking up on the box.
Cooking.
And then they're like, oh no, I'm gonna throw the meal out. Oh, sorry, I dropped the plate coming to the tape. That's what they did. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand. Again, I know the people on the box are way smarter than I'll ever be about racing. But there are some calls that as a fan you just look at and you just go, why would you do it? Did you overthink it? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't get either, man. So
I checked my phone like right when that happened, and literally all the comments that I could see on Twitter was just like, "Why did he pit? Why did he pit?" Like every single tweet on my timeline, I was just like, "Oh God."
Yeah, I was cussing up a storm in the chat. I was not happy. So I knew it was about to happen.
Yes. Like, if you go on my account, like two tweets I made, I was pissed.
Yeah, I think I saw yours too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the 2011 and the 2311 tweet in the comments, but I was being respectful by like as loud, like unacceptable. I got to do better.
Yeah.
That's me.
So we'll be looking forward to seeing what the next couple of weeks hold. Anybody else have any other thoughts on the 23 before we move forward?
I pray we get to summer above it like last year. I pray to God.
Yeah. Let them cook. But that's why I tell y'all, let them cook. Okay? Just give it time. Let it happen. It's not going to be, he's not going to take off right at the start, but he got a couple good jumps last night, and that's how I knew that he was really just like locked in. But, sometimes it just takes a few laps, especially since they didn't have practice. It's going to take a little bit. He's got to get a feel for the track, figure out what he needs to do, and then he puts it into motion. And I feel like that's what we saw last night.
And another thing. Why do we not have practice on super speedways? If we practiced, we could have caught what happened.
Apparently that was an owner decision, if I remember correctly, because they didn't do it for the last Atlanta race. It was some kind of decision made that they didn't want to have practice for.
Yeah, and then now that
the Atlanta race.
They want to save money up.
But they did qualifying first, and then they did practice on Saturday.
Which makes no sense.
Which is absolutely stupid.
It was really dumb because I forgot about that until it happened, and I was like, wait a minute, because that was when I first saw Bubba because he was sitting with the car. By the wall. And I was like, wait, why is he back out here? And I was like, oh, because they're doing practice after this. And I was like, why are we doing practice after qualifying? This is so stupid. And a lot of people were really confused about that. So I don't know why they did that. I think it's really dumb. It's like either do it or not. Because like Xfinity didn't have practice. They just did qualifying.
90s fans do not realize how good they had it. You had practice, you had qualifying, you had happy hour. You had so much time to get the car on the track.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan, you could go sit there 3 days straight and see the cars. So I'd love to see, even if we don't go that far, maybe we don't need 3 hours of practice every weekend, but 90 minutes, an hour?
Hour is fine, right?
Yeah, I'm really kind of mad that they, the practice session was just kind of like, because not everybody did it. And so, yeah.
I'll bring this up and then we can move on to our next topic. If F1 gets 3 1-hour practice sessions and an hour of qualifying, they have cost caps and they don't care about spending money. NASCAR does. Americans do. Americans have a problem spending money.
Spending their own money. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. See, F1 be too doggone expensive, but we get to that. Whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on F1 a little bit later, but first we're gonna go around the track. We had Xfinity racing at Atlanta Saturday. John Hunter Nemechek took home the win. I think the bigger story was Collar fumbling the ball late in the race. Haley had a chance to push Hemrick to the win at the white flag, decided to pull out, go for the pass for second place, and claimed afterwards that he was running out of gas, even though he was passing second place. So John Hunter Nemechek drives off, gets the win. What do you guys think about that race?
Lights got too bright.
Y'all know how I feel, because I wanted my boy to win, but,
Kianna, you may be mad at me for this one because I'm about to rant for a little bit, respectfully.
All right, but don't be talking about my boy Henrik, okay?
First of all, I love Daniel Henrik.
Thank you. Okay, you can continue.
All right, here we go. Okay. The race was fine. I personally enjoyed it. Like that was a really fun race. But that last lap really made me so mad. Keep in mind, I'm not a Carlin fan. But I like Daniel Hemrick a lot, and I wanted him to see him win again because he was right there.
Yeah.
And then you got Haley. I cannot stand Justin Haley. I am a certified Haley hater. I cannot stand him. Like, you passing your teammate on the final lap, knowing John Hunter Nemechek is literally in front. Like, help Daniel. He's your teammate. You could push him to go and shot for the win. But instead, you want to say, oh, I ran out of gas. You passed him, my guy. Make it make sense. Like, come on, dude. Like, you literally right there with your teammate, and you could have helped him, but you said, no, I don't want to help him on my own. Man, whatever, man.
You know what I call that? He had that the Eric Almirola Xfinity win syndrome.
You know,
it's kind of like that picture. No, you know that picture, like the guy who's like pouring champagne all over himself and like really celebrating, and he's in like 6th place. It just kind of felt like that.
That meme.
Like, bro.
Yeah.
I did it. Who do you think you are? I am.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I didn't have a dog in that fight. There's not an Xfinity team that I have a big passion or care for, but I just like to see good racing. Like, I just want to see well executed racing, and that was the opposite. That was, screw it, I'm gonna just send it, and maybe I'll gain 7 car lengths in turns 1 and 2 and see if it sticks. And it didn't. So I really would love to hear that breakdown that happened today on Monday and hear what was said in that meeting.
Yeah, I would have loved to be in that meeting because
Carl made that funny meme about Dane Hurley putting gas.
Trying to gas it up.
Too funny of a meme.
Oh, God. And so then we had trucks racing earlier in the day, Saturday, at Mid-Ohio. The biggest thing that stood out to me about this race was just how wet, how slick the track was. There were a ton of spinouts, a ton of folks running off. Corey Himes ends up taking the win. Raja had some struggle in this race. Part of it on his own, part of it was trucks being trucks and driving ultra aggressively. I love Raja, but he said, I hope it rains. And then it rained. And then
it was a
whee! We love you, Raja, but not a good look.
I didn't watch the race. I'm glad I did not watch that race. I heard. Oh, sorry about that. I heard the race was a big travesty.
It wasn't that bad. It was a good race. It was trucks being trucks, honestly.
Yeah.
I just shout out to Raja for bending it lap 2 or lap 3 or lap 1, whatever it was, but coming back, getting stage points, being right there at the end, and trucks being trucks. He lost out on a really good finish. So, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, Bubba and his trials and tribulations. Raja is going through it as well, and it sucks to see because that truck is lightning fast.
Yep.
If they can put it all together, he wins. I'm really interested to see how he performs at Richmond. He's kind of has a good handle in Richmond because he normally runs the Xfinity cars while he's there. That might be the breakthrough for Raj. So we'll see. Overall, it was a good race though. I like them racing in the rain because they already kind of don't know how to drive, but.
That was fun.
Whether they really don't know how to drive.
Hey, not gonna lie, watching drivers race in the rain was so much fun. Especially this was World War 2020. I remember this race. It was raining so bad. The whole race was so entertaining because how bad it was raining. I remember I'm gonna won that race. Remember the race was so much fun.
Yeah, I think the rain just makes it so unpredictable, right? Like, racing in itself is a very unpredictable sport, but when you add that factor to it, it just makes it 20 times worse, which I love, especially for a race where I don't have a ton invested in. I'm Team Chaos at that point, and Team Chaos won. So that was very entertaining to see. And then also racing at Mid-Ohio was ARCA race, won by Tyler Ankrum. But my maybe favorite story of the weekend, Venturi Motorsports driver Sean Hingorani crashes his teammate Dean Thompson to set the stage for everyone. Dean was running the lead, ran his teammate off the track at the white flag. Sean decides to ride around for a lap, is at the tail end of the field, and runs the leader off the track, and bins it both on the last lap. They end up finishing, I don't know, maybe in the teens, but ruined the team's chance of having at least one car finishing in the top 5 and really ruined their day. And then earlier today it was announced that he'd be suspended this week, and will be on probation for the rest of the year. So my first question is, what do we think about the teammates fighting, wrecking each other on the last lap? And then what do we think about another NASCAR suspension? We talked on the show about Chase's suspension a few weeks back. He missed 1 week for aggressive driving. This is the next suspension to come down. And what do we think about NASCAR setting this precedent about drivers getting suspended for aggressive driving?
Go ahead, kick us off, Bate. Go ahead, kick us off.
Oh, me. Okay. So I was at work during the time when the race had started. I didn't look at the replay until I left work. So it just garbage how you wreck your own teammate on final lap. Like, come on, bro, be serious. So I'm glad he's suspended I'm glad he's suspended. So NASCAR to keep this consistency up. No matter what series you win, if you wreck somebody, suspend it. No matter who your favorite driver is and stuff, suspend it for a full race.
Yeah, shout out for them like keeping the rules even across all the series. I just want to know, what kind of beef do you have to have with your teammate to wait a whole lap to spin them? And then you're not even smart enough to just like spin them and you keep rolling. No. Both cars get beached. What are we doing here? Like, this man spent all that money.
If you watch some of the recent ARCA races, he's been racing like a menace. I can't remember if it was Berlin or Elko. I want to say it was Elko. It was just chaos, and he was like right in the middle of it. And I mean, I've noticed in the last few weeks he's been running like a menace out there. So I'm not surprised that this happened, even though I didn't see the race. Once I heard what happened, I was like, oh, well, I expected that, because just from what I've seen in the last, month or so, that's the one I usually keep my eye on, because I'm like, oh, Lord, he's going to do something crazy. Aside from the whole, the Jesse Love show that everyone, talks about. Some of it just, running people over. So I feel like that's why the, suspension happened, because they're probably just tired of, seeing that, because it's been pretty much every race now that he's involved in, something like this. So, yeah.
Carson Hocevar, you're next.
Need to get Tony back in the car. She ain't doing that.
Tony ain't doing that. Tony finishing races.
Yeah. Right. I've never seen teammates wreck each other like that. And I mean, he went full like Matt Kenseth. Just, I'm going to ride around at quarter speed. I'm going to wait for you. And it's the last lap, and you're running second for a team that needs good finishes.
Your own teammate, man. If it was my teammate, I don't want him. I do not want that man as my teammate ever again.
It's always the ones closest to you. That's what they say.
Yep.
Moving on, we had Formula One racing this weekend. Max won. I think we can move on. No, I'm kidding. It was an exciting couple laps, and then it was 2023 Formula One racing. So, not that much happening.
All right, Max did what he had to do, whatever. Shout out to the F1 broadcast for actually showing the craziness in the back of the field. After the safety car, places 8 to 13th changed 15 times on the lap. They were going absolute full send. Shout out to Lando. I wish Lewis still got a podium. He tried to finish second. Lando in that car, man, they found some speed this weekend, boy. He ran away, sadly, from Lewis. But it was good to see because two Brits finishing, on the podium in Britain. That's always good for them since Silverstone's their home track.
Lewis.
I don't know. I actually enjoyed this race. Max's time up front's getting long in the tooth, but they're getting closer. He's not going to win everything this year. It's just a matter of when he blows up or when he gets wrecked into the wall again.
I'm tired.
Lights too bright. Need the lights to get too bright. Put some lights out there.
They don't hit me for this, but I don't care no more. I am a certified Max Verstappen hater.
You should be.
We're gonna be a hater. Oh, of course, because I can't stand a guy.
As you should.
Good. I need my boy. I miss my boy Lewis winning, but he's up there. Like he is up there. Really happy he got the podium. I see that boy Lando coming through though. Second though, so shout to him. But I hate Red Bull. I hate Max. I'm tired of it.
Oh, while we're on the subject of Red Bull, Christian Horner, please find the spice aisle in your local Aldi grocery store, please. I have never seen such unseasoned chicken. Please find the seasoning aisle.
He didn't even see the doggone burgers.
Didn't season the burgers.
Oh my
put
God.
parsley on that. Parsley's not seasoning.
What?
Parsley display.
You never heard of some dang on seasoning? Oh my God, my brother. No seasoned salt, no pork powder. No,
I invited half of the paddock to the house. Half of them showed up. That's why. Season your food, nasty.
Because you can't cook. Ain't no season. You taste nothing but plain.
Oh my gosh.
That's what kills me when people go on cooking shows and they have all these accolades and then the judges are immediately like, yeah, this has no flavor. And I'm like, how are you a chef in like a Michelin star restaurant?
Right.
And your burger ain't got no flavor. Your potatoes ain't got no flavor. What is this?
That's how you know it's a setup.
Wow.
I used to work at a restaurant.
Yeah. Like, how did you get this job? Like, I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. You a chef and you can't season your food.
Can't season your food. And you put no salt in the water before you boil
None of
stuff. Like,
that.
what are you doing?
Just straight plain on the grill.
So we're not getting invited to the next Red Bull cookout. That's been
no.
I'm
well
fine with that. I will be
never
down the
be
street at whatever soul food restaurant exists.
Right.
Thanks.
You will
I'm
never
good.
see me there.
Good on
I'm in my own Mercedes-Benz cookout. Bring all the paddock. Max,
that's got some food.
Max, I don't like you, but if you want to come, get some real food, then get some real food.
Hey, look, we know Lewis eat tofu. I'll eat tofu prepared by Lewis. Because I know it's gonna have taste.
I keep forgetting. Yeah. Hey, Lewis, I'll make some good vegan food for you. With some good seasoning.
You know what? We got a black-owned vegan restaurant here. Oh my God, he would love it. If I could.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like
3 now. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I like tofu. Like, you can cook it up and it's good. The problem is that if you expect it to be chicken or steak or beef, then you're set up for disappointment.
Right.
If you just take it for it as its own thing, it's good. Like, it's just another tool in the tool belt.
As long as you season it.
Yeah, you gotta season it. Yeah. It tastes like a wet paper towel. You don't season it.
Oh no, right? I remember I cook it on the fryer. About season, I tried about season. Oh God, with the fryer with the season.
Lewis is gonna listen to this one day and be like, "All right, what the hell?"
He's like, "All right, I'm not going to America outside of these races."
He's like, "Our cookout at all."
I fly in, I get in the car, I drive, I fly out. That's it. Like, my feet will not touch American soil. It's just the jet to the cockpit and back home. In other news, some smaller stories from the day. Corey LaJoy is expected to sign a multi-year extension with Spire Racing. I'm a Corey LaJoy hater at this point, just because people stand him so hard in our chat.
I can't hate him because he did wave at me. There were a few drivers who completely ignored me this weekend, and they are now off my list.
And let me explain too, like, as a hater, I just mean as a driver. He might be a lovely guy in the real world.
He's so nice.
He might be a very nice gentleman.
Like, You know what? I put Corey LaJoy in the same category as one of my former coworkers. I said they would be a great neighbor, but I don't want to ever work with you.
Nope.
You just don't do your job to the level that I want. But as a person, yeah, you can come over. I'd have a cookout. Corey LaJoy could come over. I don't mind that. He lives next to me. That's fine. But I just don't want him in my car if I'm paying him millions of dollars every year.
Did NASCAR pay Spire, I should say, to give him a multi-year extension so he can keep the NASCAR-sponsored podcast? Can't he stack pennies outside of the cockpit? And I think that's why he got the extension.
I mean, he was stacking quarters until they got stolen.
I mean, even I don't mean anything by this. No disrespect,
Monopoly, buddy.
Yeah, you still stacking pennies after that extension, my boy. You glad the Chevrolet leased you your Silverado because
that's
about it, baby. That's about it.
Right, that's all you get in. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, we had Corey LaJoy was the topic of discussion in the Victory Lane Vibes group chat last week, and I would be the first to admit that I was in the trenches. I was in the trenches, and it was heated, and I was fighting for my life.
Oh God! What did we got in that chat?
All right, so now we got to talk about it. I know we covered it on episode 1.
Yes.
You can't sell in a Tier 1 Grade A car. You can't sell in a Tier 1 car, my boy. William Byron got his second Mickey Mouse win of the year, and Hendrick probably paid them for it, but it's fine.
Yep.
Like, you can't sell in a Hendrick car, my boy. Like, you can't. Josh Berry just got a multi-year contract because he outdrove your teammates. Like,
right.
What is this? What is this?
Right, Josh Berry, like, wait. What was his high finish? Was like second or third?
He finished second.
Yeah.
Right, he finished second, and then you finished like 30th, like, or 28th. Like, come on, dog.
Josh Berry's like, I just got here. I've been here 10 minutes. Got a top 5.
So having to see my boy Josh Berry comes to the Cup Series, replacing Kevin Harvick for the 4th car next season. Looking forward to that.
That's why I'm glad that he got something like, I was watching Austin Hill last night. I mean, he didn't do nothing. So
nothing.
Austin Hill was mad about something about the whole race last night. I don't really want to get into it. It already annoyed me, but anyway.
Yeah, I'll never knock a man getting his money. If he got a family to feed, he tells us all the time he got a family to feed. I respect it.
Family, my boy.
But that don't mean I gotta like it.
Right.
I respect it, but I ain't gotta like it. Get Carson in that car, make sure he gets some top 10s. That's all I'm saying.
Man, Carson would throw that whole car away.
Top 10s and the whole freaking field would be crashed out of the race, sure.
Right, unfortunately.
Now, it's Ty Dillon's. He only signed a 1-year deal, didn't he?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
We'll cover that later on in silly season.
That's what I'm really looking forward to, off-season Victory Lane vibes, because it's going to be silly.
I'm looking forward to when Bubba wins podcast time when my boy wins. Oh, it would be a party.
We're just gonna go live from a cookout.
Yeah, we all gotta gather and go.
We all gonna have a cup.
We're having a parade in the hood.
The contents of that cup will not be disclosed.
Yep.
And we're just gonna celebrate. But yeah, off season Victory Lane vibes. It might be mask off, like just silliness. But we got a long way to go. We got a lot of racing between now and then. So Corey, good job getting your money. Another tweet that came out, it's likely that Busch Beer will be signing with Trackhouse and Ross Chastain.
It's not likely. This is the worst kept secret in sports.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the watermelon pretty much,
Yeah. I'm giving it the plausible deniability, but yeah, that tweet.
I'm telling y'all this now. If they bamboozle or say, oh, this is a brand new flavor, Busch watermelon, I'm gonna laugh.
Oh.
I'm
It's
gonna
coming.
laugh so hard.
Bush Light, literally 2 hours
They
ago
have the
on
opportunity
Facebook.
to do the funniest thing ever.
They said they have a huge announcement to announce, and it's a watermelon rolling across the screen. It's already happening.
Right.
It's like, here comes the new flavor. Here comes our new driver.
That's
See you 2024.
That's smart though too.
Oh yeah,
That
the
is
marketing's
smart.
genius.
That's really smart marketing.
That is. Like, you announce a new driver, also new flavor too. Yeah, that's smart, bro. Jared, I can't see my boy.
I can't watermelon beer. Oh God.
Oh, it's gonna be nasty. You don't want to drink it.
Oh yeah, of course.
But somebody gonna buy it.
Beer is
Ugh. Just thinking of that is making me not. Oh God.
Since we're just complimenting, deservedly so, Bush's marketing, I want to throw some shade at them. How did they never do a race with Kurt or Kyle Busch? How did that never happen when your whole company name is Busch Beer?
And I remember, like, when I was little, I used to think that, like, Kurt was, like, because I lived near Busch Gardens at one point. And so I was, like, always, I don't remember what it was. Like, I always thought, like, Kurt and Kyle were, like, going to be at Busch Gardens or something.
That's their house.
Know, like,
that's where they live.
Yeah, like, that's where they live. And I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So as we look ahead this weekend, Cup and Xfinity are going to be at New Hampshire. Trucks will be at Pocono. Any picks? Anyone to watch out for? Anyone y'all putting money on? Some of y'all be gambling in the chat. Not me though, but
Pocono.
So
trucks at Pocono.
We'll start with the trucks. I'm not gonna pick a truck winner. I want to be pleasantly surprised. I watch them when they're on TV because we have to cover it on the pod. Don't follow the drivers outside of Raj well enough to see who's hot and who's not. However, on the Cup side, on my ticket, Christopher Bell. This man has only finished worse than second in like the last 6 or 7 races there. A wild statistic.
Yeah. He's undefeated at Xfinity. Like, that dude is a dog in Xfinity. He's literally undefeated. That's my pick for next Sunday. I pray my boys do well. Yeah, but I got my boy C. Bell as the winner. Dude, like, that's his kingdom. Like, the last...
He fade Bell.
My boy, hey, Christopher Bell, new name.
Ready.
He's ready. Bell. That's his new name. AKA Babyface Chris. But, like the last stats what Jerry said, like, it's been phenomenal. And it was crazy enough, it is, in 2020, before he had the tire issue, he was in 6th the whole race. In the LFR car. 6th the whole race. 2021, he could have swept that. He could have swept that whole weekend if it wasn't for the rain issue and them winding down the laps. But keep in mind, he was faster than Eric Amarola, way faster. Man, but that I got my boy Bell for Sunday. DraftKings is coming back for Bubba this Sunday, so you know what that means.
I think I'll give my Xfinity pick. I think John Hunter Nemechek goes back to back. I'm really excited how Toyota's gonna figure this lineup out, because at some point he's got to come back to Cup, and I just wonder what car he's gonna be driving. But if he keeps performing the way that he is, if he gets a ship this year, I think some changes coming next season for the Toyota lineup. Somebody going home.
I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of like, I'm rooting for everybody black, like I usually do. But, yeah, I mean, I do kind of feel like John Hunter, he might go back to back. Because I feel like whenever he wins, he just kind of gets on this streak and he just goes. But, I mean, he's been good this season. Like, I can't even say he hasn't been. Like, he's been very good this season. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he won again. Cup, I really don't know. Like, it's just been such a change week to week. And, you know, we're all talking in the chat, like, oh yeah, so-and-so's gonna win, like, he's got it. And it'll be, like, completely opposite of what we think. And so, it's been hard for me every week to really predict who's gonna win, because, I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen. But I just gotta root for my boy. I hope he does well.
As long as there's not a car sponsored by Bacon anywhere near the top 25, it's a successful weekend.
Every time he was near Bubba last night, I just held my breath because I was like, Lord, if I have to come out of character, this is not the
If
place
you go make me act up in front of all these people.
Do not make me act up in front of all these people, please, because
Kianna be running across the track as soon as they crash.
Not even that. I would just be staring. You know, it's kind of like that meme with the meme with like the little person with like the bonnet on and like the little grandma pajamas with their hands on her hips. That's me. Whenever somebody like touches Bubba's car, I'm just standing there like that, and it's really funny because I wish the camera would like catch it because I know I probably look like somebody's grandma standing on the porch, like waiting on somebody to act up.
I'm like the same way. I swear, my life is being like recorded, like they recorded The Office in Abbott Elementary. Because sometimes I just stare off and just like, are you serious right now? Like, is this happening? Is this real life?
That was me with Priest. Yes,
Oh,
that was me just staring off into the void, contemplating your existence. The choices that led you here.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think Bell is the safe money this weekend. I remember last year Chase Elliott had a really good run as well. I think he finished P2 and Bubba finished P3. So
top
that's
five race. Top five.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So that's
like, sorry to cut you off. Like that was his best finish at the race since ever. Because keep in mind, Bubba was not good at that track, and until last year hits. Like, massive improvement.
Yeah. And Truex too. He was, I think, I don't remember, but I feel like he led a lot of laps last year in New Hampshire. And that team's been really good this year. They got some wins. They were running really well yesterday for a lot of the race. So that's another team to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. I think that's all we have to cover this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, you got to give us 5 stars. We appreciate you so much. Be sure to follow us online, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and introducing on Threads at VL Vibes Podcast. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.